Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And in the series of migrating to Australia, I've got some very interesting information that people who are in the following careers should have a good look at. If you're in the IT area, like a computer support specialist or a web designer or system administrator, software engineer, data engineer, IT manager, senior solutions architect. I'll tell you why. Well, skilled professionals are leaving South Africa in droves, searching for higher salaries and better opportunities overseas. Australia is among the most popular destinations for highly qualified South African professionals, with others including Europe, the United States and the United Kingdom. The Australian government also recently announced updates to the country's migration program for 2021, which is aimed at attracting scarce skills, and the skills we're talking about here are seen as scarce skills. Now, before I go any further, guys, please, look, I'm not a migration officer, okay? I know diddly squat about immigration. So please don't send me an email and say, Scott, how do I do this? You have to do the hard yards yourself with Google. All I'm doing is alerting you to the facts, okay? And I will attach below this video in the description an interview that an expat South African had where they put down what their experiences were coming to Australia and why they chose Australia. Okay, let's continue. These scarce skills include many IT, engineers and telecoms disciplines, which means that potential immigrants who are qualified to work in these industries may receive a skilled independent visa. This will allow them to live and work in Australia where they can earn higher salaries than they do in South Africa, although it should be noted that the cost of living is much higher. To determine how lucrative job opportunities are overseas compared to South Africa, we compared the average salaries of popular IT positions in South Africa and in Australia. We used figures from Indeed, PayScale and Glassdoor to compare average pay in both countries. The Australia figures are listed in Australian dollars and are paired with a converted rand figure based on the exchange rate at the same time of writing. The average salaries for 10 popular IT jobs in South Africa and Australia are below. Now, I'm going to put that as an image in this video so you can actually go and check it out yourself. Just pause the video and have a look. But for example, a web developer, which I used to be many years ago, in South Africa, the average web developer gets about 194,817 Rand per year. In Australia, a web developer in South Africa gets 194,817 Rand as an average. In Australia, that same job earns you 61,602 Australian dollars, which equates to 714,443 Rand, which is over 3 times the amount that you're getting in South Africa. Okay, what about taxes and earnings? Australia definitely takes the crown in terms of gross salary comparison, but taxes must also be considered. The amount of tax you pay in South Africa and Australia depends on how much you earn, placing you within different tax brackets. The Australian individual income tax is determined by the Australian Tax Office each year. Below are the tax brackets for Australia for 2021 according to Australian Tax Office. Okay, so once again, I'm just going to do you a screen dump and you can have a look at that for yourself. And finally, what about spending power? Here, the cash that you got left over after the taxman's come and taken his cut. Well, it is important to note that while those working in the United States are earning far more than those in South Africa, they are also spending more. The cost of living in the US can vary greatly between states, cities, and coasts, and can therefore be difficult to compare. For example, it is far more expensive on average to rent an apartment in New York than it is in Johannesburg. The Big Mac Index can provide a rough idea of how currencies are valued against one another, but it is by no means an accurate tool for currency misalignment. Not everything comes down to a comparison between salaries and taxes. The cost of living makes a big difference in how good your salary actually is. The Big Mac Index compares the price of a Big Mac in multiple countries across the world to provide a rough estimate of spending power. The cheaper a Big Mac is in a country, the more purchasing power people in that country have. While the Big Mac Index is by no means an accurate tool for currency misalignment, it does provide a rough idea of how currencies are valued against one another. Below is a spending power comparison between South Africa, Australia, and the United States, according to the Big Mac Index for July 2020. All right, guys, here comes that image of the Big Mac. Let's have a look at that first. As you can see, Australia is right in the middle, but it's a lot cheaper than South Africa. Now, as I said earlier, in the description below, I'm going to link to a web page where you can see what an expat South African says about leaving South Africa, first going to the UK, and then deciding to come to Australia because of the weather. And it's an interesting bit of information, but this is a call out to people who are in the IT industry. If you're below 40, if you're above 40 years old, you might have a problem, because you've got to earn points to come to Australia, and if you're 38, 39, you've got a heck of a lot better chance of getting into Australia than if you've hit 40. Just bear that in mind. But again, you've got to do your own research, Google, and you'll find everything you ever need to know. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video, please share this video, and above all, please stay safe. Bye for now.